All right, so first off, we're going to be talking about the challenge deck. All right, so first off, we've got a word to the wise, have 2 more champions adjacent to rival statue, and also reach for the stars, which is the same thing, but 2 or more champions adjacent to Esme's statue. Next up, we have United We Stand, have 3 champions adjacent to the same statue, and Lay of the Land, have 2 or more champions in trap hexes. All right, so there's 4 of those down there. We got Pincer Maneuver, have a champion in each deployment area, and then we also have Control the Creation area. Control the Manipulation area called Masters of Manipulation. Display of Might, at least 2 of your champions are leveled up. Got Domination, have a champion adjacent to each statue. You've got Take the Fight to Them, control the deployment area, and last but not least, we've got Harbingers of Destruction, control the destruction area. All right, so in the Kickstarter version, you are going to get 2 challenge decks. Now, the reason they did that, which was actually pretty cool, because you have the board and you also ordered the playmat, you are going to basically have 2 complete sets. Well, not be able to play with, all the champions, but you could be playing your game with a friend and somebody else wants to play. Cool, here's the other characters you play with. Here's a challenge deck. Get rolling. So, very cool. All right, so let's dive right into the characters. First off, we're going to be talking about Korvash. Now, Korvash is a 0 armor, 8 health character, wielder of Scornblade. The model looks absolutely amazing, large and in charge. Noticing goes up from 0 armor and 9 health now. Korvash, when he levels up, his attacks ignore defense if the target is bloodied. So very cool. We've got Shockwave Manipulation card here. The 1 movement, melee attack, push 1, and stun. Then we also have Blood Curdling Roar, +2 armor after the attack. If the attacker is bloodied, ignore any further after attack effects. Now remember, something I want to point out to everybody, making sure they remember here, the symbol in the top left corner, this one's defense, noticing there is no logo. So like this has the Korvash logo there. This one doesn't have that. Remember, these can be played by any champion. The next one here is Chop. It is a card that, if you notice here, has a all the way around target area. Basically targets every single person that is around him. It does no damage, or no attack, excuse me. This attack gains +2 for each target. Now, I mean, think about it. In the right position, you have your champions, you have their champions. I mean, that's a complete wipe except for your Korvash. I mean, that can be good or bad depending on the situation, but man, that could be potentially pretty nasty. Hell Hath No Fury, another destruction card. You've got 2 movement, a 2 range attack. The 3 attack, after the attack, if the target is bloodied, it suffers force 1. You've got a creation card here. 1 movement, melee attack, 3 attack. Before the attack, jump 2. And then last but not least for him, sap strength. 2 movement, 2 range, 2 attack. If the target is bloodied, this attack gains +2, so a total of 4. That is pretty sick. Now that was Korvash, wielder of Scornblade. Next up, we're going to be talking about Maurice, however you say this, I am not sure. But this one is a 0 armor character, 7 health. When he levels up, he stays the same as far as stat-wise. However, he gains lifesteal while he is bloodied. So that is very nasty when it combos with some of his other cards, which we're going to go through now. So first off, we have Cornered Beast, a creation card here. It's a defensive card. After the attack, enemies adjacent to the target suffer 2 damage. Not 2 attack, but just suffer just 2 damage. That is sick. You got Bone to Pick here, destruction card, 2 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. Before the attack, if Maurice is bloodied, -2. If Maurice is bloodied, this attack gains +2. So again, another +2. So that's another 4 attack. That's pretty sick. Creation card here, 1 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. Before the attack, -2, getting into position, a little bit easier. After the attack, Maurice is bloodied, force 1, forcing people off of position. Got another destruction card here, 2 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. For the attack, -2. If Maurice is bloodied, this attack gains double. That's another 2 damage, and then 2 damage on top of that if you get through, hopefully, the armor. Stalk the Prey from Maurice adjacent to Place Maurice adjacent to an enemy if bloodied enemy adjacent to him suffers stun. Oh, each bloodied enemy adjacent to him suffers stun. Excuse me. That's pretty sick. Stunning some peoples. Ravenous Bite here. You've got another melee attack, 3 attack. For the attack, -2, and lifesteal. So, man, even if he's not leveled up, you still have the ability to do that. All right, so that was Maurice the Cursed. Very cool character. Love his model. All right, next up, let's talk about Sokka. 0 armor, 7 health. The Poisoned Mind. Her model. Oh my gosh. Probably the favorite model of all of them. I love how it looks and the aesthetics and everything. You've got 0 armor, 8 health on the leveled up side. After you play a Sokka manipulation card, draw 1 and then plan 1. You've got her first destruction card here called Darting Strikes. It is a 3 range attack, 2 attack itself, and then double. So doing that attack twice. You've got Life Drain, 2 movement, 3 range, 2 attack. Lifesteal, the heal from this lifesteal may be assigned to one of Sokka's allies instead of her. Not just adjacent allies, allies. That is pretty nice. You got Effigy here, 2 movement, 2 range, force 1, and then stun. Basically, put people where you want them and then locking them down. You got a Spirit Slither, 3 movement, may move through enemies, statues, and traps without activate them. Enemies move through suffer -2 armor until the end of the turn. So this would be really good against characters that have an inherent armor base of 2, like Dugrin, which we'll go into here in a minute. You got Mind Control, 2 movement. Discard the top card of an opponent's deck. The matching enemy suffers force 2, getting people where you want, especially off of objectives and holding areas. And then a defensive card of Curse, +2 armor. Now, after the attack, the attacker suffers Root. Root. Love it. Awesome. So that was Sokka. Show her card here in a second. The Poisoned Mind. So dig her model. One of my friends, Brad, who also does the podcast, Star Trek podcast with us, loves this character. And he's actually really good with her. Not really my forte. I would probably say one of my least favorite. I can't figure her out. It's hard for me to figure out what's going on with her and how to use her properly, but I'd love to hear what you guys think on Sokka. Next up, we have Kalel, the Jungle Typhoon. 0 armor, 8 health. When she levels up, same stat line there, but the target suffers -2 armor against Kalel's attacks. Favorite level up right there. Very nasty, very powerful. You got double jump, melee attack. It is 2 attack, jump 3 before the attack. After the attack, jump 3. You jump in, smash somebody with a 2 attack, and then jumping right back out. Or even getting across the map. I mean, it doesn't really even have to be going in and out. It could be going across the board that way. Pretty nasty. Next up, we've got Mighty Leap. There are, so far in the core set here, there are 3 cards that have this type of damage where it's going to hit everybody around. It does 2 attack to every target. Before the attack, jump 3, so you can literally jump right in the center. And then hit everybody for the 2, and then push everybody away. That is pretty sick, especially using the right context and everything. Poison Dart, you've got 1 movement, 3 range, 2 attack, poison 1. So that's pretty nasty. You've got Blinding Dart and a defensive card here, +1 armor. After the attack, the attacker suffers stun. And then you've got here Scout Ahead. This is 2 movement, draw 3, plan 3. Getting cards when you need them, where you need them. And then Tongue Lash, 1 movement, 3 range, 1 attack. After the attack, if damage was dealt, the target suffers pull 2 and stun. So this isn't necessarily a card I would say you lead off with, because you kind of want to pull someone's defensive cards out of their hand if they have them. They may not even want to play them, because remember, every time you pay the defensive card, you've got to flip your token over for that type, whether it be creation, manipulation. So, while this can be easily blocked, the chances of them doing so in the situation where you need them is kind of slim. So, kind of see what happens there. I love Kalel, probably one of my favorites. Her, Nevermore, and Darren. I don't know why. Those are probably my 3 favorites I like playing with them a lot on Tabletopia. I'm so excited to get this one actually to the table. Hold models in my hand, play some cards. It's just a completely different feel. All right, next up, let's talk about Dugrin. 2 armor, 7 health. Let's talk about his non-level upside. Sorry about that. 2 armor, 6 health. Warden of the North. You already saw his level upside, but let's show you again. 2 armor, 7 health. Adjacent opponents cannot attack unless Dugrin is the target of the attack. So with the 2 armor, making people attack him, you want Dugrin leveled. If he is on your team, you want him leveled. You want to keep him with enemies that are a little bit weaker, such as, maybe Kalel or Gwen, where he has to be the target of the attack, and that attack is less likely to actually deal his 7 health in damage. First off, we have Blizzard. It is 2 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. After the attack, if damage was dealt, deal 1 damage to each other enemy. Not each adjacent, but each enemy, which is nasty. You've got Shield Slam here. The 1 movement, -2. Each adjacent enemy suffers push 1. So running him in, slamming people back, and then shoving them off of objectives. Really cool, and I love the art and the idea of that card. Got Mighty Blow. You've got 1 movement, melee attack, 1 attack. After the attack, push 2. If the target is damaged by the push, they suffer stun. You've got Knockdown. 2 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. After the attack, Dugrin's allies gain +2. Wow, against the target until the end of the turn. That's just nasty. +2. Oh man, not only is that an attack creation card, but it also is going to kind of be like a targeting thing. And that's pretty nasty. That's pretty nasty. Hold ground, negate any displacement effects caused by the attack. If you know you're going to get pushed off based on the attack card, you respond with this sucker. Man, you ain't going nowheres. So really cool, really cool. And then you've got Onwards. I love starting the game off with this card when I do play as Dugrin. You get 1 movement for Dugrin himself. You get to draw a card, and then plus Dugrin's ally is made -1, so a little bit of free movement for your characters. I dig this card. I know it's not that powerful when you think about it in grand scheme of all the other cards that are out there, but I think this is just a fun card to play, and it's just like, charge! I think they maybe should have called it that, but I don't know. That's pretty awesome. I dig it. All right, what do you guys think of Dugrin? Is he one of the champions you'd like to play with? All right, next up, we've got a very nasty character. This is Kilgore. Non-level upside, 1 armor, 7 health. The Ravager. Got 1 armor, 8 health. Immune to stun. I don't know. This not getting stunned is nice. When it happens and you're leveled up, it's like, yes, that was awesome. But then in the grand scheme of things, there's some other characters that their level up is just nasty. I don't really see his being all that great. If they maybe would have increased his armor a little bit or something, I don't know. I would have liked maybe see that. But Appetite for Destruction, melee attack, 1 attack, lifesteal. This attack gains +2 for each ready standard core you control. If you are adjacent to somebody at the beginning of your turn, you have this in your hand. If you don't play this first, you did something wrong. This is definitely the card you want to lead with. Because that's 5 attack. That's a 5 attack card. That is just nasty. Next up, you've got Fury. You've got 2 movement. Again, the second time we've seen that, I believe. Maybe the third. There's another Q characters that had that. Fury, we've got 2 movement. You got the all the way around targeting. You got 2 attack. You've got a heal 1 after the attack, which is pretty nice. You've got Maul Thrash, 1 movement, melee attack, 2 attack. After the attack, push 2, getting people off of objectives. You've got Throw. I love using this, be able to get him into a position with the 2 movement. Throwing one of your allies 3 spaces, getting them to a spot-on position. That is a really cool card. Next up, we've got the Relentless Advance. 1 movement, range 2, force 1. Place Kilgore in the original target's hex. Forcing just allows you to move a character 1 hex in any direction. And then last but not least, we've got Dark Steel Armor. Now this one gives you +1 armor, and then after the attack, the target gains +2 until the end of the turn. So something important to note here, it's not +3, it's just the +2 until the end of the turn. Now if you use this with Kilgore, for example, then his +1, +2, that way it becomes +3. Remember, these can be played on anybody, so even if you use it on Dugrin, that's 4 armor, and that's almost unstoppable. So I mean, there's only a few cards that can really dish out that much, and you really want to make sure you put this out on the board to make sure that people remember this until the end of the turn. So, all right, so that was Kilgore. Let's get his right side, the Ravager. All right, so let's talk about Aquette. Aquette, Light of Creation. I love his figure. I love how he looks. I'm just not a fan of Aquette. And the reason being is, again, I just haven't figured him out yet and how to really gel with him. Just maybe it's just not my play style. But that's what's great about this game is there's just so many different characters to really mess around with and try. I'm really going to make sure I give Aquette more of a try than I have the game. First off, we got here Death from Above. You've got a splash attack for 3 characters in front of you for 2 attack. Before the attack, you can swoop 3, getting really good movement. Inner Fire, you've got 3 movement. Return a fire card from your discard pile to your hand. Aquette attacks gain +1 damage until attack until the end of the turn. You know something I forgot? I guess we didn't talk about his leveled up side. During an Aquette attack activation, you may discard any number of fire cards from your hand, or excuse me, destruction cards. The attack gains +1 attack for each card discarded. So very nasty when he gets right in the right position and everything. All right, so let's go on to Healing Tears. You've got 2 movement, heal 2. You may discard a creation card from your hand to heal an adjacent ally instead for 2. It's nice to be able to heal your characters in tight situations. From the Ashes, after the attack, if the target was taken out of action by the attack, place them adjacent to the attacker instead of on their gate. This is one of the reasons I like having him in my group. I'm just not very good with him, like I said before, but this card is just nasty. But you've got to have it in your hand when it happens. Otherwise, it's just another red wasted card you're piling up, taking up space. You got Wingstorm here. You've got 1 movement, 2 range, 1 attack. After the attack, push 2. And then last but not least for Aquette, you've got Take Flight. Swoop 4, place the first champion swoop through adjacent to Aquette. That would include allies. So a great way to get people where you need them when you need them, as well as getting Aquette where he needs to be to control areas or what have you. So very cool. Our Aquette. What do you guys think of him? Again, not my favorite. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, so next up we've got Gwen. 0 armor, 6 health, the Gathering Storm. I love the art on her card. Let's see here. At level up, when you activate Gwen, decrease the minimum range by 1 and increase the minimum range by 1. That's actually going to be really instrumental to make her one of the most powerful damage dealers in the game. So let's kind of talk about why I believe so. First off, we've got Teleport, going to allow her to pretty much move almost anywhere on the board with a jump 4. You've got Arcane Shield, +1 armor. If the attack is not adjacent to the target, this card gains +2 instead. Remember, not +3, but just +2 instead. So kind of gives you a little bit of against range attacks if they're not adjacent. You've got Ignite. Let's see here. So this one is 2 movement. You got 2 range, 2 damage. After the attack of Gwen's, allies gain +2 against the target until the end of the turn. She's very good at marking characters as well. Okay. Awesome. So this is where your level up is going to come into play with cards such as Chain Lightning, 2 movement, 2 to 3. When she's leveled up, again, this could be 1 to 4, 3 damage, 3 attack. After the attack, if damage is dealt, deal 2 damage to another champion within 2 hexes of the target. Remember, if you don't have an enemy champion within 2 hexes, you have to deal the 2 damage to one of your characters. So you got to really make sure you're using this at the right time with the right positioning and everything. Next up, we have Flame Spear, the longest attack when she is leveled up. So it's going to be 1 movement, 2 to 6 when she's leveled up, 3 to 5 standard, 3 attack. After the attack, push 1. It's a nice card that pretty much from across the map, you can get people off of position, which is pretty nice. And then last but not least, my favorite card for Gwen, Fireball, 1 movement. Again, leveled up, 1 to 4, 3 attack. After the attack, deal 2 damage to each champion adjacent to the target. Whew, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's game changer. I love hitting people with that Fireball, especially when people are grouped up together trying to hold a zone or an area, and they're maybe even surrounding a statue. I love it. That's so cool. So much fun. All right, so that was Gwen the Gathering Storm. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. I love this character. I love the mage type characters, and I love putting her into my decks. All right, we're going to be talking about next is Xiao the Jade Claw, 0 armor, 9 health, 0 armor, 9 health when he levels up, and adjacent enemies suffer a -1 defense. Pretty nasty, seeing as how most of his attacks are going to be melee as well. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Pounce. First off, we've got a creation card, melee attack, 1 attack here. You've got before the attack, jump 3. After the attack, push 1. Just jumping in on somebody, slashing them for a little bit of damage, then shoving them off of the position. Next up, we have a Revenge defensive card. After the attack, the target was not taken out of action. The attacker also suffers the attack damage. Very nasty. Very nasty. All right, Jade Claw, 2 movement. You got a slash attack for the 3 characters in front of you. Deal damage to each target until they are bloodied. This card is one of those cards that's like, if you know you're playing against Xiao, you do not want your characters adjacent to each other if you can help it. Especially if Xiao is near you or on his way over to you or whatever. You want to be very cautious and be very careful when you know that Xiao is on the board. Double strike. This one is melee. You get 2 attack, and then before the attack you can dash 2 and then double. So remember, when you attack with a double card, I'll make sure everybody knows this as well. When you do an attack for damage, you're going to hit them for 2. If they defense it for 2, the double is going to be that same attack of 2 again. Their defensive card is still against the attack, it's going to be against both, so it's going to be 0 damage. Now, if they had, you played double and they had no defense, it's going to deal a total of 4. They blocked at 1, so 2 minus 1 is 1, and then it's going to do double, so 2 minus 1 is 1 again, so they're going to suffer 2 damage. So it's just very careful to understand what double really means, so be careful of that. So, and then last but not least, we have 2 cards left. I'm sorry, we've got Focus. It is 1 movement. Your champions gain +1 attack and +1 movement until the end of the turn. And then we have last is going to be Challenge. So this one here is 1 movement, range 2, 2 attack. After the attack, pull 1, getting people off of position away from those shrines or the statues. That was Xiao the Jade Claw. Very cool character. I like him a lot. In fact, I don't like playing against him. He is that good. All right, we've got Goldar, Scourge of the Several Seas. 1 armor, 8 health. On the leveled up side, again, 1 armor, 8 health, immune to push. I like that in the essence that, you're going nowhere with Goldar when he's leveled up. He's going to be the holder of objectives and very good at that. Some of the problems that I feel like he has is really just drawing the right amount of damage at one time. He doesn't have that many damage cards, so he's really not going to be a damage dealer. He's going to be a position mover. But with his art and how he looks, you'd think he would be. But he's not bad. Let's take a look. We've got Set Sail. This one here is 1 movement, dash 2. Ignore the champion's traps, deal 1 damage to each enemy dashed through. You've got Anchors Away. 2 movement. It's going to be the slash damage in front with 1 attack. After the attack, push 1. Again, getting people off of positions. Intimidation, get +1 defense. After the attack, the attacker suffers fear 2. Again, making people run away from the person that's played on. And then you've got Plunder, 2 movement, melee attack. You've got 2 attack. After the attack, draw 1 for each damage dealt. So if you deal 2 damage, then that is pretty nice. You got Harpoon Strike. Again, another one to be able to get people off positions, maybe pull on towards you so you can get somebody else on that maybe zone that you're trying to control. You got 2 movement, 2 to 3 range, 1 damage. After the attack, pull 2. And then last but not least, Me Hearties, 2 movement, draw 1. Goldar's allies gain 1 attack and 1 movement until the end of the turn. Now, we actually just saw a card similar to this, and I kind of want to point it out to you guys that we also have Focus, also a creation card. But if you notice that Goldar's card is actually, quite better. You got an extra movement and draw a card, but otherwise it is the same effect. So, you know, I've kind of noticed that a little bit in some of the other cards that, you know, there's cards that are pretty similar, while not being exactly the same. Some champions share some similarities, so you want to be careful when you build your team. You don't necessarily want to have both of these cards in your deck because then you're not really giving yourself as, you know, as far as much options, except for like who's controlling it, I guess. But just something to consider that I kind of thought about when I was going through these cards. All right, so next we're going to be talking about Wrath, Stalker Beneath. 0 armor, 6 health, levels up, 0 armor, 7 health. Wrath's attack gain, poison 1. You've got go to ground, defensive card, 1 armor. After the attack, jump 2, getting into position. Sneak attack, 2 movement, melee attack, 2 attack there. Reactions cannot be played during this attack. And that's a guaranteed hit. And then you've got burrow, melee attack, 3 attack. Before the attack, jump 2. After the attack, jump 2. Getting in, smashing, coming in from under the ground, smashing, then rolling away. He is pretty versatile with getting and striking from afar. Stalker Beneath, you've got melee attack. If deal 2 damage to an adjacent enemy. If damage was dealt, place Wrath adjacent to an enemy. I guess my question for this card, I'd like to get you guys' thoughts. Deal 2 damage to an adjacent enemy. Okay, and then it says if damage was dealt. Well, how would damage not be dealt? In what situation would you not be able to deal that 2 damage? Because it's not an attack, it's just straight damage. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that one. But that's pretty nice to be able to position him next to an ally. And then this one here, Nightshade, 2 movement, draw 2, plan 1. Wrath's next attack this turn ignores defense. So a really good card to start off with. And then double dealings, 2 movement, 2 range, 2 attack, and double. So again, dealing that 2 attack and then dealing that 2 attack again. So we're going to be talking about Nevermore, the Shade. Has 1 defense, 8 health. Absolutely gorgeous art on there. On the opposite side with his leveled up version, enemies adjacent to Nevermore cannot be targeted by an opponent's reactions. Really good character. I like using him. I mean, it's very situational. Obviously, you want to keep him together with your other members. But next up, Dark Envoy, 2 movement, 2 to 3 range. Looks like 2 to 3, so only 1 damage. And then you get to, after the attack, plan 2. Okay, that's for blue. Nightmare, get 1 movement, swoop 4 enemies, swoop through, suffer 1 damage, and fear 1. Okay, looks good. Guiding Light, 2 movement, place 1 of Nevermore's allies adjacent to Nevermore. That ally gains +1 damage until the end of the turn. Something to start your combat off with. Murder of Crows, +1 armor. After the attack, if Nevermore is within 2 hexes of the attacker, ignore any other after effects and end all other lasting effects. Soul Reeve, Lifesteal, 2 movement, range 2. It's a lob, so it doesn't require line of sight, and it does 2 damage. Heals Nevermore for 2. And then Grim Harvest, 2 movement, adjacent attack, does 2 damage. The attack gains +2 damage if the target has no allies within 2 hexes. So if you're able to single somebody out, that is a solid choice there. Alrighty, so next up we have Lorelai, Fable of the Fae. Alright, so 2 armor, 4 health. During the upkeep phase, draw 2 additional cards. That's amazing. That is very amazing. Whew. Clairvoyance, draw 1, plan 5, 3 movement. It says Grasping Vines, 1 movement, 2 range. Place the target adjacent to Lorelai. This may target Lorelai's allies, bringing people where you want them, getting them off of you know, like scoring points or next to the statues. Discard up to 4 cards. Heal your champions 1 for each of their cards discarded. Like that. Intervention. After the attack, if no damage was dealt, the target may heal 3 with a +1 defense. I give her a 3 defense. That's pretty solid. And then Nature's Wrath. 1 movement, 3 to 4. 3 attack. This attack ignores the defense of the target. That is sick. That's a very good card. And then Winding Paths. 2 movement, Range 2, looks like 2 damage or 2 attack. After the attack, swap the target's location with another enemy champion. Swap places with people. I dig it. Awesome. And then last but not least in this Forces of Nature box, we have Tase, the Thundering Thriller. 0 armor, 9 health. A little damage on the card there. All right, leveled up side, same thing. Tase, when Tase would dash, he may deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy instead. Huh. Kind of wish that was when he would dash, he may deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy after the dash. Huh. You may think about like ramming him or whatever. Rodeo, 2 movement, may move through enemies. Enemies move through, suffer 2 damage. Okay. This is before the attack, dash 3. This attack gains +1 damage, or attack, excuse me, for each hex dashed. Okay. +1 armor, yet after the attack, dash 1, so moving out of position. Bludgeon, you got 2 movement, range 2, 2 damage, or 2 attack. After the attack, stun. Finishing blow, before the attack, dash 2, so it's next to, it's an adjacent 3 attack. If the target is bloodied, this attack ignores defense. And then rush, Tase or an ally may dash 2, get 2 movement on that. Wow. That's pretty sick. That's a lot of movement there. Plus getting one of your partners to be able to move as well. Now, last but not least, my absolute favorite champion is Darren, Huntress of the Eastwood. 0 armor, 7 health. You've got 0 armor, 7 health on this side. Darren gains +2 defense while on trap hexes. Do not trigger traps in Darren's hex. I don't know why I like her so much. She's just so much fun to play. Getting her in a position, these cards that she has, just makes it a blast for me. Hit and run, first off, you get 3 movement, 2 range, 2 attack. After the attack, dash 2. You've got spring in the trap. If the target is in a trap hex, this attack gains +2. After the attack, the target is in a trap hex. They also suffer stun. So 2 movement, range 4, and then hitting for 2 attack. So pretty nice there. You got a defensive card called Ambush, +1 armor. After the attack, place Darren adjacent to the attacker. What's cool about this is, like, let's say, you know, like Gwen's the one being attacked, and Gwen uses this as her defense. Well, Gwen will gain the +1, but then after the attack, you can move Darren literally across the map right to the attacker, which is pretty nasty. I think that's pretty cool to be able to say, hey, it's not going to be the attacker or the defender. It's going to be specifically Darren. You got Prowl here. It is 2 movement, draw 2, plan 1. You may look at the trap token in play, then place it in any free trap hex. I like using this for when you need to get maybe move a trap hex away from maybe your half of the map, or if there's a trap token, on a part of the map that there's nobody by, and you really maybe want to move that trap token to another hex that would maybe block one of your opponent's champions from moving in. This is actually pretty fun to use. And then Hunter's Quarry, the next attack on the target this turn, ignores defense and gains +1 attack. Movement 2, range 4. And then last but not least, my favorite Darren card is Heavy Shot. You got 2 movement, 2 to 3 range, 2 damage. If this attack gains +1 attack if Darren is in a trap hex. After the attack, push 1 or push 2 if Darren is in a trap hex. If you get her leveled up, she's in a trap hex, right? So this is going to be a 2 attack. Okay, she's in a trap hex and she's leveled up, and she's going to be 2 armor anyway. She's going to be dealing this 3 attack damage, and if she's in that trap hex, she's going to be pushing 2. That's just so cool. I mean, getting people definitely away from you or off of a position that you want, or, you know, adjacent to somebody else that has a melee attack that you really want to land. It's just so much fun, and I totally dig it. So that was Darren, the Huntress of the Eastwood. All right, so that was all the characters for Super Fantasy Brawl. The core set anyway. Makeup of my team that I like to play is probably going to be Darren, Nevermore, and Goldar. I think are the ones that I like playing the most. I don't know why, they just kind of gel with me. But, you know, as far as like, is it the best strategy? I don't know, not really. It's just the characters that I like. So I'd like to hear what you guys think as far as like what your favorite characters are. You know, who do you use, or who do you think you're going to use? Who do you like the most? Which card do you think is the most powerful? Did I say anything about any of these cards that you think there's a better strategy for? I'd love to hear it, and love to talk about it. So until next time, everyone, please be safe, take care.